Hey, ladies, I want to talk a little bit about a verse that I feel like every minister and pastor's wife needs tucked away in her heart. I think the reason that I feel that way is because this particular verse has been has recently answered a question for me, or maybe even a couple of questions for me. When I find that there are little challenges that I have on certain things, and I want to try to figure out how to resolve or how to, because that's what we do, right? We're wives, we're moms, so we solve problems. Uh, and so that verse is Zechariah 4 and 6. And it says, "Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord Almighty." And again, that's Zechariah 4 and 6. And so some wives take a bit more silent and gentle approach to problem solving, to challenges, to, just even maybe conflict. They take a little bit more silent and gentle approach. And to you, I say you're an amazing person. I am honored to, for those of you who I know, I'm honored to know you and to know that there is a way for that. But unfortunately, that's just not me. I've always been an outspoken person. Being raised by a single mom, I saw her use her might. And even my grandmother, I saw her use her might as well. As a matter of fact, my grandmother was known as a woman who did not need to be underestimated. She was very serious. My mom is basically the same way. And my grandmother was known in the neighborhood that to fight men. Like, she would fight not one, and did fight not one, not two, but she would fight a man and would win. So take that as you will. But sometimes, and most times, being a woman who stands beside the call, who stands beside her husband as a minister, or stands beside her husband as a pastor, sometimes we want so badly for our husbands and our church members or family members or even our kids. We just want them to get it right. And in that desire, we can sometimes slip into thinking that it's our job to push them or to demand them or to even bully or bribe them into doing God's will, right? So we might say, well, if you go to church, then we'll go to dinner afterwards, and while that's temporary, it may work, but it's a temporary fix, right? And so while what this verse reminds me of is that it's not me pushing, it's not me prodding, it's not me threatening, it's not because I can't use the power of the checkbook, or ladies, I can't use the power of intimacy. Like, I can't use those things to get people to do what I want them to do. Right? To get them to behave the way I want them to behave, or respond the way I want them to respond. I can't, that's not going to work. And even if it works here and there, it's a temporary work, right? You can't punish people into righteousness, right? You can't nag them into holiness, and you can't manage another person's spiritual growth. Now, in having children, you do realize that, God has told us to raise them in the way in which they should go. And so that is a different component, because just like I told you, I saw my grandmother have much strength, have might, have power, exercise those things when they needed to, withhold those things until they got what they wanted from people. So I did see that. And so there is some influence there when you're growing up. But as an adult, when you learn better, you do better, right? And so only the Spirit of God can do the deep work that it takes to convict a person, to urge them to want to change and to transform a heart. And I know it gets hard because sometimes your husband may be the one that you're trying to get to see a new perspective or understand a new concept. And, and maybe you're at a church where your husband has a vision, or maybe even you have a vision for the women or the children, or a vision for guests that come into the church, right? And maybe there's something that you want to see done, or you see how this can work so much better if we do it this way, or if we go this route, or if we serve these group of people, or if a ministry does this thing, right? And we can see it. We're visionaries. We can see it, but they can't. They can't see it. And so you're not sure, since you can see it and you have energy, your husband can see it, he has energy, you want to run with him, right? And you're not sure if you need to just give up or do it yourself. Because here's the challenge. If you give up, then you're not seen as committed. But then if you do it yourself, because you can see it and you have the vision, right? So if you do it yourself, then you're a busybody who thinks that she is in control, or you're a busybody who thinks that she's the pastor and you're trying to take over, right? So maybe you think they say, well, she's just a busybody because we don't want to do that, and she's just trying to take over. And if anybody, I'm gonna put some comment, you want to talk in the comments. If you want me to talk a little bit about this thing about like people trying to say that we as minister wives, or we as pastor wives, we trying to be in charge, or we want to take control, or we trying to be the pastor. If you want me to talk a little bit about that, because I got some words about that, but I'm gonna stay on topic. But if you want me to talk about it, let me know in the comments. So we see the vision, we want to do it, but they can't. So what do we do? Because it could be a family member who you can see so much potential. And when that family member has financial difficulties, or they have trouble keeping a job, or they're just running into one challenge after the other, you are like, I know how you can overcome this. If you just apply yourself, and if you just do these things won't be an issue, right? And so maybe you withhold something, or maybe you fuss at them a lot, or whatever. But here's what you want to do, because you're probably thinking, like I had been for a little bit, like, so what do I do? And the Lord said, stand steady in prayer. Be still and know that I am the Lord, right? Pray. Pray for them. Don't try to use your might or your power. Pray. Praying is private. It's personal. You can do intercessory prayer to pray on behalf of someone, but you want to pray. Then love with patience. How do you do that? You love no matter what season they're in, no matter what challenges they're facing. You love and you're patient with them. And then you trust the Spirit more than your own strength. Because just because they do what you said does not guarantee that they're going to get the outcome that you're thinking. Because at the end of the day, God's Spirit is the one that's moving the needle. He's the one shifting their hearts, and He's the one that's helping them to develop their testimony. So, whether you're a lady first or a first lady, keep your head up, your heels down, and keep your heart in the Master's hand. And until next time, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Lord Almighty.